the price action over the last few days has been kind of crazy just because of the war and some of the things that are going on. And so in this video, I want to show how we can read the charts and not get faked out by the craziness so we can make a little bit of money. Let's get into it. Hi, I'm Aaron, and I have been trading in Q for the last 2 years. And in this video, I'm really going to go through how we can read the chart to make money, even when it's a little bit crazy and a little bit choppy on the markets. So the first things that I really want to dive into is I'm going to switch over here is the 30 minute. The 30 minute is really going to give us kind of what's going on here. I have one major zone that I've drawn here, and I've purposely created this to be very clean. And so what I want to do is just show you some of the things that we're seeing from a higher level. So what we're seeing is this cup that's completing at the moment. And what I want to show you in this video is at a lower intraday level, how can we read to make a little bit of money, right? So today was a good day, made 1,500 times 5 on different accounts. And so I'm going to show you the play that I took, and it's not even that big of a move, right? So let's kind of dive into that. So right now we're seeing we're at the zone, but I'm going to dive down into the 2 minutes. The 2 minutes actually where I trade off of, and you can kind of go back and check some of my videos. We talk about no wicks, we talk about gaps, and that's exactly what I want to kind of talk through today. So what I saw today was, here's our open at 9:30 this morning, and you can see this morning we kind of pushed up and we then pushed down. And so I want you to note that this right here, so this is going to be a peak that I will talk about. And so this is actually big because in our community I talk about this. Make sure you check out the community, the Discord community. I did post about this potential setup happening. And so what we have is a area of trying to push up. Now we're trying to pull back down to hopefully gain additional buyers to then push off of that, right? And so we do actually break above this area, but you'll notice that we actually don't get much higher. We actually get to this point here. And so this to me is showing a pattern that we talk about a lot, and I have a video on this as well called the M pattern. And so what this is showing you, and I'll show you here, this is the M. So what it is, it's a double bounce essentially of this area. So we have 1 and we have 2. We're basically not able to get above that area, which is causing some resistance, if you will. And so I noticed this earlier. And so what I was saying to the community is, if we can use this channel that we see right here on the 2 minute, if we can actually break below this channel, and I believe I took this at 1036, I believe I did take it on this candle here. If we can break below this area and actually pull up, now I'm going to zoom in on this so you can actually see it, so because it's easy to talk about afterwards, but I did post this. So if you can break this, if this can break this channel, come down and retest. So this is our retest of this trend line right here. Reject that and then push down and then consistently see lower lows, right? We do get this candle here, but it's still weak, right? Like this is a very high top tail. If you get a very long top tail, that can signify weakness, right? So this is what we were seeing on this play. And where I was saying, where could we actually go on this potential move? I was saying that we could actually probably move down to this area here. Now you'll see 2 minute no wick. And so we could potentially get down there. Now I did post this, but I want you to see what exactly happened. Look where we hit. We literally bounced at that to the dot, right? And then we moved back up off of that. So you could have played this particular move. Now I want to talk a little bit about these no wicks. Again, these are things that people are not talking about on YouTube, and my goal is to really show folks how to trade without all the indicators. So this right here is a no wick. Now no wicks have to be filled. What does fill mean? So if you have a no wick, so let's just say you have a candle like this and it has a wick right here. There's no wick on the bottom of this. So what has to happen is there has to be a point to where a candle comes here and at least gets to the bottom of this or passes it a little bit and then creates the candle. Now I know that looks bad, but look what we did. We actually went past that area, which is called a fill. Okay, so that's what that needs to happen there. And so what I was saying was, if we break this channel here, we could definitely see this move break down to this no wick. Now, that's one place you could have taken it. I do look at a couple other charts, and I'll just show you this quickly here. But I believe it was the 15-minute had a really good setup as well. So let me find that really fast. So here we go. On the 15-minute, you'll notice that we had this large candle here that's yellow, and the yellow is signifying that on one side of this candle, there's no wick, right? It's just an indicator I use to help me visually see these quickly. Obviously, I can see them, but it just makes it easier where I can see it. So you'll see that we actually don't have a wick down here. And so this could have been a really good play to take to is here as well. So we could have made this as our target. Again, this is that same play that we saw earlier on the 2-minute. It's just on the 15-minute here. So I'm going to go ahead and switch back to the 2-minute just so we can kind of see this play once more. And so you can see here that we broke down, and after that, it was pretty much over. We kept consistently making lower lows, lower lows, lower lows. We're making lower highs, right, as well. So lower high, right? This wicks up. But this is bearish. I'm not going to talk about that, this just means weakness. And we continue down into ultimately finishing and creating what I talked about in this M pattern. Now, the whole video here is to talk through some of these setups that we see every day. And if you're patient enough, if you have the discipline to wait for these types of setups, not chasing candles that are moving up like this, right? Not, getting down here and chasing this to the downside because you don't know if that's going to move back up, right? But if you can clearly identify, okay, we have a potential M pattern in play, we had a channel break and a retest, and we have a reason to get to this point down here, these are all really good confluence points to help us become more successful and gives us a high probability rate, right? I don't want to jump into plays at the very top and then get stopped out. I want to see the play, so I plan this ahead of time. I took it down and I hit. If you like this, hit the subscribe button and the like button. It really helps me get this out there for other traders and people that are just getting into this to really learn how to do this. So that's what we're seeing right now on this particular trade. I know that this is probably, there's a couple things here that are probably newer for some folks. If you find this challenging or you find that, hey, I can really relate to this, he's really giving me some information, again, make sure you join the Discord. I show different trade setups each day. My goal is to really help folks learn how to trade, not depend on an indicator. Thanks for the time, and I hope to see you next time.